Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day. I was actually about to go to Walmart and do some shopping for this month. I've got an exciting interview for tomorrow, so I'm just hoping for the best. I'm wishing for the best, and I'm thinking the best that I can to keep myself level and have strong. But outside of that, I wanted to talk about an allegory. Now, right now, I'm predominantly going to be talking about the wilderness section of the Torah. But then I'm going to explain before I even do this. If you read the end of Deuteronomy, or if you read towards the end of that book, what you end up finding is that there was a sacrificial law, and it was going to be next to the covenant. And Joshua even had said at the end there that it was going to be a witness against them. Now, the reason why it's a witness, the reason why the covenant is a witness against the sacrificial law is because it breaks the covenant. And so I'm going to give you guys like a lot of allegories and different similes and different things like that to help you understand what I mean. So before I start any of this, I like to clear some confusion when dealing with the mark of the beast. And if you research that, back in the Greek, it was 616. Now, if you pay attention to the covenant, you would have the first three commandments, which is like the ark. And then you would have the other seven commandments, which makes it 10, the 10 commandments. It's symbolic of the spirit that hovers above the waters, the lamb that walks above waters, and also symbolic of the ark. Now, the other 7 days, the seven colors in the rainbow, and the seven stars in the Lamb's hand, all are incumbent of the covenant, so to speak. Now, if you look at the sacrificial law, which is the 613 mitzvahs, plus the Ark of the Covenant, which becomes 616, the reason I call it the mark of the beast is because all throughout that law, if people are unaware and make that a total law, it's instructions to kill for the word, so to speak. And so you see in a lot of different places where it's telling people to stone people or eradicate people for certain sins, and that's testimony against the covenant. Also, it teaches people to have slaves and servants, which is also a testament, witness against the covenant, which is no gods before me, which means all men are free. And it also means, and it also breaks thou shalt not steal by having servants, because what you're doing is stealing other humans. And so you see that a lot in the ancient American days when they would talk about how they wanted the freedoms, but they wanted the freedoms in the southern states to enslave people. You see how that doesn't make sense? It's like those two concepts bump. And so then back to the idea of the covenant. Well, if you look at the 10 commandments and don't follow any other person and just read that for what it is, even minus the Lord God, if you read it as I am or who I am or that which I am, I am who I am. No gods before who I am. Don't idol anything. It's basically teaching people to, I don't want to say be atheistic, but it's teaching people to abhor all other gods. Now, when I say abhor them, I shouldn't even use that words. It's teaching people to have a word and spirit, to not be vexed by other religions. So that doesn't mean you can't be like, have an imagination, fun, magician, all that type of stuff. That's entertainment. I'm talking about people who take this stuff seriously, like crystals and witches and stuff like that. And so even it tells people to stone people like that, right? See, they're murderous laws. And when people break past the religious firewall and begin to see what I'm saying, they can follow along and understand more clearly and follow the word the way they're even supposed to. Because even when I say follow the word, when I talk about the Bible a lot of times, and I tell people this, I'm not looking at that book. I look at that book like how I look at Harry Potter. There are many beautiful metaphors and words in Harry Potter that I can apply to my life. The same with the Bible. I don't look at that book and go, oh, the magical, invisible, this and that. It's telling me to do this and that, because that is a witness against the covenant. I am who I am. Put nothing before who I am. No gods before who I am. Now, when I say that, I might get the idea to help somebody or save somebody or bow to somebody kind. If I say I'm not bowing, I'm saying I'm not bowing to other religious institutions, ideologies, and things like that, principalities. So back to the algorithm I was talking about. When you look at the stone being hit in the wilderness, when you hit a stone, you're chiseling into it, or you're basically writing into the stone or breaking it. Now, if you look in the Revelations, it says that the dragon, which was the Pharaoh, the dragon spits water at the people. Now, that was when they were in the wilderness, but the earth opened up and ate that for the people. Now, what is that symbolic of? Now, if we would have gone off what the pharaohs wanted throughout of all of mankind through history, we'd probably all be slaves and destroyed. But different prophets and people took the pain, they bore the pain of going against the water that, or the pharaoh, so to speak, that was writing into stones. And what they ended up doing was becoming major people in history. But how do a lot of these people awaken? I believe they were getting the covenants. So a lot of people that are in religion are in the wilderness and don't understand how or why. But once you get the covenants, the light can bear witness with you as to why you don't want to be enslaved by any of this stuff anymore. And so the idea of the dragon spitting water at the people to try to harm them is the same as Aaron using Moses' name. So now I'm gonna go into real. You have Ahmose was the pharaoh. Ahmose. He was a great African king that basically became a pharaoh, was the first of the pharaohs, and changed life for people. And he brought up the old temple of Amun. Now you guys probably thinking, oh, what? That's pagan. You don't understand. Amun, like, take it from Moses' perspective. Now we have God. So if I built the temple of God, you see what I'm saying? So he was building the Amun or whatever, which is a continuation of Atum and Mayat, or I keep saying Mayat, Atum and Muab, and then Amun and Aten. So you have Ahmose, where they got all this Moses stuff from. He was a pharaoh that took 10 laws, I believe, based on what I have seen, from the laws of Muad. And then what he did was he created a new temple and created a new way for people. Because what ended up happening was, like 400 years before him, a group of people called the Hyksos came in and invaded Africa. When they did that, they destroyed a bunch of stuff and set up new shepherd kings. And then when Moses came in, he became a pharaoh and decided to do a bunch of stuff and helped a bunch of people. He had this was in history. He had an African wife, Nefertiti. A lot of them had wives named Nefertiti or Neftali or something like that, something of that nature. You guys can do your own research in that aspect. I have videos talking about this stuff also. But so then what you would have is when Moses did what he had to do, Ahmose, then people after him started creating their own pharaoh ways. Then you would get to where you have a man named Ramses, who eventually was corrupt, building temples, cities, all type of stuff. He basically enslaved a bunch of people. Now you guys will look at like pharaohs and stuff, you'd be like Africa, Egypt. It wasn't called Egypt. That's a Greek word, house of bondage. And they called it house of bondage because of the pharaoh. What he did was he enslaved people. Now, what they did was, I'm not going to get, okay, so when you look at the stone being struck, you look at a man initially coming and writing into a stone. Then people after him becoming pharaohs tried to do the same thing when people were in the wilderness or searching for religion, because there wasn't like priests and preachers and all this other stuff for a time. It was the pharaoh. He was the god. They created it to where pharaoh was the voice. He did everything. So that lived out to one day having an institution called Pharisees, but that's way later. That we're using English and Greek words. You see what I'm saying? So what I want people to understand is that that's a metaphor. So what they did was they struck the original stone, which would have been the 10 Commandments and that lore. Then what they did was also, it can be considered the tar and pitch, an ark, right? Moses and his people, a Levitical man, who they call him a Levitical man. That just means a man who gave the law. Moses and his people put the 10 Commandments, like a little ark, down the river, but on the inside was the spirit of the word. So I'll give you an example. Metaphor. Let's say the 10 Commandments, the word is the ark, right? Boom. It's a bunch of sayings. You get it, but now there's the spirit that comes with that. So if I was to say, I am who I am send me, I am the one. Now you'll hear me saying that, but later on throughout the day or something, you might think of me. Or if you read it, it's a spirit of something. And so now you'll probably see a bunch of people talking about Jesus and God and all this other stuff, or you may see people arguing and doing all this other stuff. You're like, ooh, not for me, not messing with that stuff. Or you might get into it and try to explain to them. Well, many different things can happen. I don't know. I'm not going to try to be like a prophet and predict what's going to happen. What I'm saying is now there's the words that you read, and a spirit that comes with it, the word and spirit. That comes with all things. I tell people when I talk about like spirits, let's say this lighter. I could show you this big. Now, even from the word big, many things might pop up in your head. Maybe a time you used the big, what they're used for, what lighters are used for. Children don't play with fire. You know what I mean? So I'm like a fire mage. So what I'm saying is word and spirit. Now, let's say I say dog. If I were to say dog, you might think of a dog, maybe your old dog, the name of your dog, something dealing with dogs, a bad experience maybe you had with the dog, something. Now, I just gave you words, and because you're an I am, or you, whoever you are, you're now thinking outside of those words. It's creating a spirit of something. Now, in science, they might call it psychology, or maybe say your brain is analyzing data and pulling from different registries and memories, giving you ideas of something. So it's a simpler way than saying all that. You can either say that or the spirit. Okay. I don't want to say that all the time. And I could say much more complicated words like neurons and synaptic gaps giving off stored memory from what the mind and eyes see. I don't want to get into all that. So the spirit. So I'll give you an example. It's Christmas time now. There's snow everywhere. And I walk up to a house and there's Christmas lights everywhere. Okay, I'm starting to get the Christmas spirit. I go inside, they're maybe making cocoa, the fireplace is going, there's a Christmas tree with gifts everywhere. That's the Christmas spirit. Now, what some people do in religion is, and everybody, I'm not even gonna get into that because you can do it, whatever. So what I'm saying is though, if somebody were to come, that's the Christmas spirit. If somebody were to come up to me and be like, oh, Christmas, you're a pagan, woo, woo, woo. I might do one of two things. I might ultimately ignore it, or I might tell them, I am not worshiping that Christmas tree. It's a cultural thing. So the same way somebody could come up and call me a pagan, if I was to go up and say that to somebody in Judaism, if I was to go up to say that to somebody in the LGBTQ community, would that be the same? You see what I'm saying? We have to learn when and when not to judge and be righteous in our way. And so, like, I'll give you an example. If I go into a house and they're about to sacrifice somebody on top of the Christmas tree, what the fuck, dude? Okay, then maybe I'll step in. You pagan. Because it's going against the covenant. Now, if I see them bowing down, going, oh, Christmas tree, help us, give us the way, I might walk out of their house. You see what I'm saying? Having discernment. But if the tree is in a corner and nobody's giving a fuck about the tree, that's not worshiping a tree. Now, hold on, discernment, deeper discernment. Now, Christmas time's coming around. I don't have a tree. Oh my God, my traditions. I can't afford a tree. And now you start bitching at everybody. My Christmas can't be the way it used to be, and I don't have all the gifts and stuff. You see how it's becoming egotistical and vain? Now it's becoming a problem. You see what I'm saying? Maybe some Christmases I got a beautiful tree, but other Christmases I'm eating a bologna sandwich. Okay, I might be sad, but when I become psychotic over things like that, that's when it becomes a problem. But that's why I say don't judge people who are on drugs, because then it's a different scenario. Cigarettes, drugs, alcohol, anything. Because you don't know how they got to that point, so you don't know what they need to cope. And everything's a drug. I don't know why people don't understand this by now. Everything we do, some people are like, I need my coffee. I need to sit down and get some rest. Rest is a drug. Everything can be a drug. People do, their pets. A relationship between pets is a drug. It's an outside something giving you dopamines or happiness, so to speak. So a lot of drugs, like now when I'm talking about like actual drugs, like different things that can harm the body, that's different. And I don't advocate for people to do that, nor do I give them leeway to go do that. I'm just simply saying it's not good to judge people or even act like people know what's going on. And you know, a lot of people project. It's all throughout the world. It don't matter what religion, race, culture. I mean, that's how we live. We project our feelings. We project how we feel. We project what's going on inside. But sometimes all the blame and argument, the anti-LGBTQ, the anti-poor, the anti-woman, just even the anti-man. You guys are treating men like shit. Okay, I can advocate for women all day, but I can tell the truth about men too, and that needs to change. Y'all need to treat men better. I'm seeing a lot of people. Destiny had to argue against this in a podcast with Pearly Things. Ugh. Men are not, the way society sets it up to where men have to be alone to express their feelings. I told y'all this is what a lot of women go through when they transition. Then they become a man and they start to get depressed because it's hard dealing with everything alone. And then when you do, you got friends, oh, LOL, stop bitching, be a man, you're getting pussy. It's like, there's no help there. I'm telling you sometimes. There's a lot of men that talk, don't get me wrong. See, even then, I was man bashing against myself. What I'm saying is mainstream society can be mean on men sometimes. And we need to alleviate that. Mean on men. Moms. We need moms' love. So, you know what I mean? So I just, it feels like sometimes we give all the leeway to women, especially in this civilization, Western, which is good. A woman needs shelter and help and all that other stuff, especially when having kids. She needs the resources. But whoa, dude, kids need their dads. So, you know what I mean? And when I say that, because this is what people will do. They'll see me in my financial situation. A lot of times they're like, oh, we're on vacation, or we went to this family reunion, or we went to that, or we went to this. They're asking where you at. And it's like, boom, y'all know I ain't got no job or money right now. Y'all know what happened to my car. Like, then, or other times people are like, why don't you do this for your kid? Or men need to do more. So y'all know the way the system's set up. Y'all know we're going to be middle class, if best, maybe lower class. And y'all be like, Bubba does this for their kids, and Bubba does that, and on this movie, and It's like, you think if every man didn't have unlimited money, he wouldn't go do all of those things, pull up in his private jet and give his daughter a pony? You guys belittle us. Just like y'all say women get belittled, men, it happens to us too. We need help. And so back to the sacrificial law. You know what I'm saying? They have basically struck righteousness until it became heresy. And then even the man, one of the stones that was struck, what'd he say? Let your children be your judges when talking about God's names and blasphemies and who's the devil or not. And now look, everybody and their mama run around talking about Jesus and everything else is evil. I'm telling you how it manifested. And so, I just want to help people with certain metaphors and keep continually to being a voice and helping with that book. You guys will read the prophets. They're not some gods. So listen to what I'm about to say. They might have been gods. They might have been men. They might have been mighty. But now they're just words on a page. That book says over and over, the letter killeth. The dead letter, if people are unaware when taking it literally, will go cause them to do all type of disgusting things. Like not accepting others, apologetics towards slavery, destruction, harming people, name calling, elitism, hatred. And it's like, come on, we have to be more aware, because as much as humanity done gone to moons and planets and stars and doing all this wild stuff, the fact that we still pay for food, like cows, I'm not trying to degrade other living life, but cows, chickens, pigs, like all type fish, like this stuff should be on respawn mode with our intelligence. We should be just respawning this stuff. I mean, for anybody who's unaware and can't understand metaphors, like we should be breeding these things, and then people are like, money, income. I told you all, $750 would be God's wages if we didn't inflate everything. So now that everything's, either we're going to bring it back or increase price, stop outsourcing so much. I'm not saying don't help fix countries, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I kind of get a weird feeling. I don't think Trump wants to be president. I don't think, when I say nobody really gets their way in life, Trump used to be a Democrat. I think Trump had to play a game, so to speak. Like, I'm going to give you an example. Like, I'm not advocating for Trump, but the dude is saying stuff that he's clowning Mitch McConnell at the end here. Like, why would he do that? Why are you clowning Mitch McConnell? He's basically clowned everybody. And the few people that he does have left are like starving cronies that want like fame or money or legitimacy or something. He's saying things that like he wouldn't have said back in the past. Like, I'm hearing him talk on stage. I think he's older, and he doesn't want a bunch of people pissed off at him or calling him a sellout and saying, oh, you gave up, you fucking did it, we believe in you. But he's saying things, it sounds like, there's an episode of Rick and Morty where Rick goes back to being a teen. They call him Teen Rick or Tiny Rick. And he's having his body's having a bunch of fun. It's like, yeah, I'm a kid again, woo. But then he goes to a party and he starts singing a song. He's like, please help me. I'm on the inside. I'm screaming for help. Save me. And all the other people are like, yeah, great song. Because he becomes popular. But like his granddaughter's like, holy fuck, dude. I think Rick needs help. So, I mean, I'm not calling Trump Rick because those are two different parallels. But what I'm saying is Trump sounds like he's like tired and doesn't want to fucking win. And I think the more like, because he was a Democrat, so I think he likes power, but I don't think Trump is like. I don't want to say he's not racist, but like, there's a big cognitive dissonance over like Caucasian America and a lot of Caucasian lands that they don't really understand that they were the ones that colonized and destroyed and were dealing with famine and plagues and stuff. And so after they did all that and they call it history, they're like, ha 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 ha, look at us. We're the, I don't even know. So essentially what I'm saying is like, so they're like dissonant to it or cognitively like ignoring it. But like outside of that, I don't think like a lot of like yeah, a lot of white people are being like, get out my neighborhood, boy. But a lot of the they shouldn't call it racism so much. Like a lot of Caucasians are dealing with like they were raised in a world where they were told, all right, we're gonna be equal. We're gonna be equal. If we're equal, we're fighting against our past. So we worked. Because what people don't fail to realize, okay, now I'm gonna be like a white guy, right? This isn't whiteface. I'm saying from the perspective of a white guy, all my reward would have been saying, hate everybody. My friends and family, like it'll be like, oh, they're all Trump or they're all Republican. They're saying the immigrants and blah blah blah, people of color, blah blah blah. They're saying all that shit. Now all my life I've been fighting it. Maybe I got kicked out of my house. Maybe I don't get money from my parents or don't get rewarded the way I do. So now I'm out here as a white guy and everybody hating me for me loving everybody else. And now people are calling me racist. Okay, you're not racist. I'm advocating for you. This is what I'm talking about. That's why I say we need to stop classing people with certain things and get into the truth of the nature. What you're failing to realize is how you are fighting your friends and family and all that other stuff. That's what African Americans have to do, period. I'll give you an example. I'll go to a store or I'll go to do something sometimes, and there'll be black and white everywhere, right? So I'll see other black people sometimes stub or snub or look at other black people funny. But then they'll get around like an older white man or like a white woman. They'll be like, hey, what's up? And that coach with that white voice will come out. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it comes out. And then when they come back around to like us or give us service, it's like, oh yeah, what up, nigga? Or well, this what you want? Come on, man. It's like a code switch that we can all see. And they're like, well, it's because it's white people. It's like, no, listen to what I'm telling you. When we have to deal with that all the time as you nigga, you know how it is. But then when they go to white people, they'll be like, oh, ha. Now y'all will be like, we don't never get that treatment. We don't know what you're talking about. Like, whatever, dude. Whatever. That's what I'm saying. The cognitiveness of it. There is a situation where Africans are so despaired, they're going along with Stockholm Syndrome. You can see it in the Hodge twins, Candace Owens, Terrell K. Williams, Big Howard the Genius or something like that. They're everywhere. Sarah Garvey kind of does it because he's like pro-Africa and stuff, but then he's like, black people and black. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's like super hard for a regular everyday guy. So like, yeah, I see your pain. Come see some of mine. Come help me too. This is what I'm saying. Like, people can say like African Americans and no reparations and all that. But what you're doing is you're going to fuck it up to where one day your descendants or one day you're going to need help and they're going to give you that same spirit. And when they give it to you, you can be like, oh, my forefathers are the ones that created this. So who can I blame now? You see what I'm saying? That's why I say we need to stop with the division and come get to know each other better. I'm seeing a lot of Caucasian men that are kind of being herded into the LGBTQ. I'm not trying to be funny, but once they lose all their pride, they can't be prideful. I can't be white and prideful. All my answers to this, so I have to be like, sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to be misogynistic. I don't want to be white power. I don't want to. So it's like, whatever. Now I can be whatever I want. Now, I'm not saying that people are fake being gay, but what I'm saying is they crush black men on the head. All the black. Okay, I'm going to give you a piece of my heart. I don't have nothing wrong with the black gay community, African American gay community, but they're kind of turning it into an enterprise. It's like Dave Chappelle said, better to wear high heels than Timbs. And now they're doing it to the Caucasian community. I'm trying to tell you all, I'm about to get into Planned Parenthood. Yeah, the reason it was started and Margaret Sanger and all, she talked to the Klan, okay. All that other stuff, I don't. But what I'm saying is abortions are medically plausible sometimes for people that need them. Okay, so this whole they're trying to exterminate black babies. First of all, there will never be black people doing anything more than Caucasians. We make up 13% of this population. They make up almost 60, 70% of it. Close to it. So 60% of the population. So when people be like, it's for black people, it's for black babies, it's for black, you guys like don't understand statistics, man. And you're like mixing a bunch of different racist, mean words to hurt people. Even rapes and molestations and stuff, man. Like y'all. So anyways, like I said, man, y'all can either wake up and be free, be an I am, and then go from there. And then even with your I am, remember being compassionate, loving, merciful, kind. I see a lot of sweet atheists, but some of y'all atheists are brutal. I see a lot of sweet Muslims, a lot of sweet Christians, a lot of sweet Judaisms, but a lot of y'all are freaking out there, man. And so I don't care if a person comes up and says the earth started 6 quadrillion years ago with the Big Bang. Or if a person comes up and says eternity was eternity, but the earth was 6,000 years ago. Either way, we still can go and talk from there. Who cares? But if you come up to me talking crazy, or if you come up to me insulting me, or you know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck, bro? Me and Praise on Praise the I Am channel was talking normally, even though he was being shrewd, and even though he was sticking to because to me, if I give you a bunch of different examples, but then you only use the one scripture, and then say that one scripture, you're saying consistency, but then all the other scriptures edify against a Trinity, like you're being a smartass, and you're not letting me win, so to speak. It is what it is. But then when persons, even with me saying a smartass, but then when your little advocate and your little girly friend get up there and start belittling me and telling me I got out of there because you knew you caught me. Caught me doing what? You were using one scripture and I used multiple. I used multiple examples as to why there's not 3 fucking magical beings. Even the covenant and the sacrificial law testify against that shit. John never fucking said nothing about the Spirit and the Father and none of that. Those are Catholic words. Giannis. Whoever. But when the dude on there gets on there and goes, oh, sorry, you're not smart enough. You sound like a fucking idiot. Because then I can go to what's real. You're Catholic people, you're Anglo-Saxon people who enslaved the Africans and Canaanites in the first place, right? But we don't like that. Slavery's a long time ago. Right. So be who you are, a fucking asshole. But anyways, anybody else who is not, and anybody who can understand that I'm trying to be as kind as I can and bring as many people as I can along with this little ark that was once a little baby going down the river because of a Levitical man, a Pharaoh, but then became a giant ark that I had to build because out of every Jerusalem and all these other castles they kept building, different strong men kept destroying the castle because all the Philistines were running rampant. But I said, okay, let me just build an ark. So this time when they rain in the lake of fire, people can understand and truly have true understanding and wisdom. Now, if you understand parables and metaphors, you'll understand what that means. But everybody else who wants to say, one day this ark's going to be in a museum, or blah, blah, blah. Whatever, dude. Because I don't have the patience for none of that. Because I can hear you out and we can go from there. Or because I'm telling you what people do. They're like NPCs. Watch the Praise interview. He kept saying the same thing over and over. Then, but with him saying that, he kept saying, but I think this means, and this might mean, and that might mean, and this might be, and that might be. You're interpreting it. You're taking the dead letter, which you're taking literally. Then you're trying to put your own spit on it while saying only the word. It's like unbelievable. They're doing it in real time. So, then he invited Sam Shamoon on his show. Like, holy fucking shit, was that dude, 00 Muslim? That dude's pretending to be a Christian or a Catholic or something because he's psychotic. What part of the body of kindness is that dude a part of? So it's hilarious. So I hope you all can begin to understand these metaphors and not get trapped in the dead letter and not be harmed by psychopaths and crazy people and start to heal the world. What is all this money going to matter? All your millions, you dumb CEOs. Are you going to give it to your kids that are going to do the same thing you're going to do in a day? Get old and beg for some magical being after you shrewd at the fucking world? So, good luck.